The Galactic Empire was a vast and powerful force, stretching across many galaxies. It controlled entire star systems, and its fleets ruled the skies. The Empire's reach was endless, its power unmatched. But there was one place the Empire had not yet conquered: Earth. For centuries, Earth had been a quiet, small world tucked away in a corner of the Milky Way. The beings there, called humans, were not known to the Empire in any meaningful way. They were a primitive species, their technology limited to small spaceships and weapons that could barely leave their atmosphere. The Empire had no interest in Earth, until now. The Empire had recently expanded its borders to include nearby star systems. They had set their sights on Earth, believing it to be an unclaimed world that could provide resources for their ever-growing empire. They saw the humans as little more than an obstacle, a small planet to be added to their vast collection of worlds. The Empire's leaders decided it was time to send an envoy to Earth, to negotiate a peaceful surrender and secure the planet's future under Imperial control. The envoy was led by Admiral Cirque, a seasoned and intelligent officer who had overseen the conquest of many worlds. Cirque was confident that Earth would fall quickly. After all, the humans had nothing the Empire couldn't handle. He sent a fleet of ships, equipped with everything needed to bring Earth into the fold. The ships arrived near Earth's orbit, their massive forms casting shadows across the planet. The Empire's flagship, a sleek vessel of unimaginable size and power, sent out a signal to Earth's governments. It was a simple message: "We come in peace. Prepare to submit to the Galactic Empire." On Earth, news of the arrival of the strange ships spread quickly. Governments and leaders around the world were shocked. No one knew what to expect from the Empire, but there was no question that Earth's future was at stake. The military was put on high alert. Cities braced for the unknown. The world held its breath, unsure if they would be crushed under the weight of a galactic empire. The leaders of Earth gathered in a secret meeting to discuss how to respond. Some feared that resistance would be futile, that the Empire's technology was far beyond anything humanity could hope to match. Others argued that they had no choice but to fight for their freedom, no matter the cost. It was during this meeting that a decision was made. Earth would not bend to the Empire's will. But instead of launching a full-scale war, the leaders chose to send a message that would be broadcast across the galaxy, one that the Empire would hear loud and clear. The message was simple, direct, and firm. It read, "No passage will be granted. Earth is not for the Empire." This was not what the Empire had expected. Admiral Cirque received the message with disbelief. He replayed it several times, unable to comprehend what he was hearing. A small primitive world had just rejected the might of the Galactic Empire. It was unheard of. In the grand halls of the Empire, the message caused a stir. Many laughed at the idea of a planet rejecting their power. How could Earth, a world with nothing more than outdated weapons and weak defenses, dare to refuse them? Others, however, were concerned. This was not the response they had anticipated, and the implications were troubling. Earth was not just any insignificant world. It was a symbol. If they could not control Earth, how could they claim to control the galaxy? Cirque, however, was not one to back down from a challenge. He immediately ordered his fleet to prepare for a show of force. Earth's leaders had made their statement, but Cirque was determined to make them see the reality of their situation. He would not allow a single world to defy the Empire, no matter how small or insignificant it seemed. He sent another message to Earth, but this time it was not a request. It was a demand. "You will submit to the Galactic Empire. Refuse again, and you will face the consequences." As the message was broadcast across the planet, the people of Earth watched with fear and curiosity. The fate of their world rested on the decisions of their leaders. The question was no longer if the Empire would come, but how humanity would respond. Back on Earth, some believed it was only a matter of time before the Empire would strike. Others held hope that somehow the planet's people could resist the seemingly unstoppable force. The world now faced a choice. Would they accept their fate under the Empire's rule, or would they stand their ground and fight for their freedom? The message from Earth had been sent, but the real battle was just beginning. Earth was not going to be an easy conquest, and the Galactic Empire, despite its immense power, was about to learn that there was something unique about this small blue planet, something the Empire had never expected. The message from Earth had stunned the Galactic Empire. Never before had a planet dared to reject their offer. For centuries, their rule had spread across the galaxy without opposition. The very idea that a small, insignificant world like Earth could defy them was incomprehensible. Admiral Cirque, who had been so sure of an easy conquest, now faced a situation he had never prepared for. The response from Earth was immediate. Around the world, news outlets broadcasted the Empire's message, and the people of Earth held their breath as they awaited the Empire's next move. Governments and military leaders worked tirelessly to prepare for what they feared would be an inevitable attack. Some countries sought to calm their citizens, promising that Earth would be safe. Others, particularly the military leaders, knew better. They knew the Empire would not be content with simply being rejected. But what Earth's leaders hadn't expected was the sudden silence from the Empire. For several days, no further communications came from their ships in orbit. It was as if the Empire had paused, waiting for something. An answer, a sign, or perhaps a reason to act. The days of waiting were agonizing. Some began to wonder if they had made the right choice. The Empire had fleets that spanned entire star systems. They had weapons that could destroy cities with a single strike. Could Earth truly withstand such power? Had they angered a force far beyond their understanding? Admiral Cirque, however, was not one to sit idle. In the heart of the Galactic Empire, deep within a massive command station, he met with his superiors. The Empire's ruling council gathered to discuss the situation. The message from Earth had raised questions, and the council was divided. Some members laughed at the idea of a small planet rejecting the Empire. They believed that Earth was simply delaying the inevitable. The Empire's power was unmatched, and they thought the humans would eventually see reason. They urged Cirque to strike immediately, to remind Earth who was in control. Others, however, were more cautious. They argued that Earth's response was more than a simple refusal. It was a challenge. And challenges from insignificant worlds were often a sign of something deeper. The council debated long into the night, torn between fear and pride. Should they crush Earth quickly, or should they investigate further? Cirque, ever the strategist, believed in the Empire's superiority. However, he also understood that this was no ordinary rejection. He ordered his fleet to remain in orbit and to continue gathering intelligence on Earth. There had to be more to this planet than met the eye. Back on Earth, the silence from the Empire only increased the uncertainty. Military commanders across the world stood ready, but there was nothing to do but wait. Global leaders gathered to discuss their next steps. Many of them were frightened, unsure of how to handle such a massive unknown force. But there were others who had been secretly preparing for this moment. For years, scientists and military experts had been studying strange signals and mysterious ruins hidden beneath Earth's surface. It was an area of research that had been dismissed by most, but the rejection of the Empire had opened their eyes. Dr. Elena Carter, a brilliant archaeologist, had spent years studying these ancient ruins. She had always suspected that humanity's past held secrets far beyond what anyone had believed. Now, with the Empire knocking at their door, she was certain that these forgotten technologies were key to Earth's survival. Dr. Carter and her team of researchers worked in secret, piecing together the pieces of a puzzle that had been hidden for centuries. One evening, as she stood over an ancient artifact she had just uncovered, she realized that they were not as helpless as they had once thought. The technology embedded within the artifacts was beyond anything Earth had ever known. It was clear now. Earth was not just an ordinary planet. It had once been the home of a powerful, advanced civilization, one that had left behind their knowledge and weapons. And somehow, that knowledge had been passed down through generations, hidden from the eyes of the galaxy. As Dr. Carter delved deeper into her discoveries, she began to piece together a theory. The civilization that had once ruled Earth had repelled invaders in the past, perhaps even the very empire that was now threatening them. It was a theory that sent chills down her spine. What if Earth had been a fortress, a stronghold long forgotten by the universe? What if humanity itself had been shaped by these ancient forces, unknowingly preparing for a time when they would need to defend themselves? News of Dr. Carter's findings spread through the military ranks. The leaders of Earth began to realize that their planet was not as defenseless as they had once thought. They began to prepare not just for resistance, but for retaliation. Armed with this new knowledge, humanity could fight back, even against a force as powerful as the Galactic Empire. But despite these newfound hopes, Earth was still far from ready. Their technology was outdated, their military forces unprepared for a battle on such a grand scale. The Empire's fleet was still in orbit, waiting, watching. It was only a matter of time before they would make their move, and Earth had no way of knowing when that would happen. One thing was certain: Earth's leaders had made their choice. They would not surrender. They would not bow to the Empire. The fight for Earth's future had begun. As the Galactic Empire's fleet remained in orbit, the tension on Earth grew thicker each day. The world's leaders could feel the weight of the Empire's presence, hovering above them like a storm cloud. The message they had sent, rejecting the Empire's rule, had been clear, but now they wondered if they had made the right choice. Earth was still unprepared. It was only a matter of time before the Empire would strike, and humanity's defenses, though improving, were still weak in comparison to the Empire's overwhelming power. But beneath the surface of Earth's ancient lands, something extraordinary was taking place. Dr. Elena Carter, the scientist who had uncovered the ancient ruins, was beginning to realize the full extent of Earth's forgotten history. Her discoveries were unlike anything humanity had ever imagined. The technology she was finding in the ruins was far beyond Earth's current capabilities, so advanced that even the Empire would be shocked. Dr. Carter had gathered a team of top scientists, engineers, and historians. Together, they began to analyze the strange artifacts and devices they had uncovered. What they found was astonishing. These ancient machines were capable of manipulating energy on a scale never before seen. Some devices seemed to be linked to Earth's very core, harnessing the planet's natural forces. Others appeared to be tools for creating energy shields, while some were designed to amplify the power of weapons. As the team worked tirelessly, they began to form a theory. The civilization that had once ruled Earth was far older than any civilization in the galaxy's history. They had been masters of energy manipulation, able to shape the very elements around them. This was no ordinary lost civilization. It was a society that had once been able to stand against the might of the Empire itself. Dr. Carter couldn't help but wonder, had this ancient civilization been destroyed by the Galactic Empire long ago? Had the Empire tried and failed to conquer Earth before? And had the people of Earth been unknowingly preparing for a time when the Empire would return? The more she learned, the more she realized that Earth's fate might not have been as random as it seemed. It was as if the planet had been built with the knowledge and power to resist the Empire. The ancient civilization had hidden their most powerful tools deep within the planet, leaving behind a legacy that would only be rediscovered when the time was right. Word of Dr. Carter's findings spread quickly through Earth's military and political circles. The world's leaders began to understand the importance of what she had uncovered. If humanity could unlock and understand this lost technology, they might stand a chance against the Empire. But there were still many questions. How would they harness the power of these ancient machines? How would they use this newfound strength without drawing the attention of the Empire? In a top-secret meeting, Earth's military commanders discussed the next steps. General Marcus Blake, one of the most respected military leaders on Earth, stood before a room filled with officers. The tension in the room was palpable. The Empire was still in orbit, and time was running out. If they didn't act soon, the Empire would make its move. Dr. Carter's discoveries give us hope, General Blake said, his voice steady. But we need to move quickly. We don't have the luxury of time. The Empire's ships are waiting. We need to find a way to integrate this technology into our defenses, and fast. As they spoke, engineers worked around the clock to reverse engineer the ancient devices. They had no experience with such advanced technology, but they had no choice but to try. Slowly, over weeks of intense effort, they began to make progress. Energy shields that could protect entire cities were developed. Weapons capable of matching the Empire's firepower began to take shape. Though the technology was not yet perfected, it was clear that Earth was no longer completely defenseless. Meanwhile, Earth's leaders continued to communicate with the Empire, trying to maintain a delicate balance. They knew that the more they provoked the Empire, the sooner an attack would come. They needed to buy time, to keep the Empire at bay while they prepared. Back in space, Admiral Cirque was growing impatient. The silence from Earth was unsettling. He had expected resistance, but nothing on this scale. His fleet remained in orbit, but he was beginning to wonder if there was more to Earth than he had initially thought. His scouts reported strange readings from the planet's surface, unusual energy signatures, unlike anything they had encountered before. It was clear that something was happening on Earth, something that could change the course of this conflict. Cirque knew that the time to act was approaching. The Empire's patience was running thin. But as he reviewed the reports from his scouts, he found himself questioning something he had never considered before. Could Earth, this tiny planet on the edge of the galaxy, actually have the power to resist the Empire? Could the humans really have the strength to fight back? Despite his doubts, Cirque was determined to crush any hope Earth had of standing against the Empire. He sent a final warning to Earth: submit now or face complete destruction. Back on Earth, the message was received with a mixture of fear and resolve. Humanity's leaders knew that this was the moment they had been waiting for. They had the power now, the power to fight back. It was time to show the Empire that Earth would not be crushed without a fight. Dr. Carter and her team continued to work, unlocking more secrets of the ancient technology. As the final preparations were made, Earth's people braced themselves for the battle that was coming. The war for Earth's survival was about to begin. And this time, the humans would not back down. The Galactic Empire was used to getting what it wanted. For centuries, its fleets had rolled over planets with ease, conquering one world after another. Earth's refusal had been nothing more than an unexpected wrinkle in their plans. But as the days passed, the Empire's leadership began to realize something disturbing. Earth was not backing down, and the humans seemed to have uncovered something powerful hidden within their planet. Back in the Empire's command center, Admiral Cirque sat before a group of high-ranking officers and advisors. Their discussions were tense. The mood had shifted from one of confident dismissal to uncertainty. "What we are facing is not a simple rebellion," Admiral Cirque said, his voice cold but thoughtful. "We have never encountered resistance like this. Earth is clearly hiding something. These strange energy signatures, it's as if their entire planet is a weapon." He paused, allowing the room to absorb his words. The Empire had always been the dominant force, so the idea of being challenged by a small, underdeveloped planet was unsettling. Some of the advisors still believed that a quick military action would force Earth to surrender, but others were not so sure. "We have been monitoring Earth's defenses," said a senior advisor named Droloth, an expert in galactic intelligence. "They have developed energy shields and weapons that should be beyond their capability. They have discovered technology that we believed was lost forever. If they continue to unlock these secrets, they may become more powerful than we anticipated." "We cannot let that happen," said another advisor, Commander Vela. Her voice was firm, filled with the certainty that had guided her through many battles. "We must act swiftly. If they are not stopped now, they will become a threat to the entire Empire." Admiral Cirque nodded, but he was conflicted. The Empire's pride was at stake, but he knew that if they acted too hastily, They risked making a grave mistake. Earth was different from all the other planets they had conquered. There was something about the humans and their world that made them unpredictable. The humans are resilient, Admiral Cirque said quietly, but their resilience might not be enough. We must break their will without destroying the planet completely. We cannot afford to lose Earth as a resource. A silence fell over the room as the officers exchanged glances. They all knew that the Empire's usual methods, swift destruction, overwhelming force, might not work here. Earth was unlike any world they had encountered. They needed a new plan, one that would not only neutralize Earth's growing strength, but also force humanity to submit without risking too much damage to the planet itself. On Earth, the pressure was mounting. The message from the Empire had arrived, warning them of complete destruction if they did not surrender. Despite the looming threat, Earth's leaders remained resolute. They had no intention of bowing to the Empire, but there were still many unknowns. How would they fight such a powerful foe? Would their new technology be enough to hold off the Empire's might? General Marcus Blake stood at the head of a large war room, surrounded by military leaders and strategists. A map of the world was projected on the wall in front of them, showing the positions of the Empire's fleet, which still hovered above Earth. The tension in the room was thick. The time for negotiations had passed. It was now clear that Earth would either fight or fall. "We've seen what they can do," General Blake said, his voice steady. "We know they can destroy entire cities with a single strike, but we also know that their technology isn't invincible. We've uncovered some of Earth's ancient defenses. We have weapons now that might stand a chance against them." He glanced around the room, meeting the eyes of each officer. "But we can't fight a war like this alone. We need to form alliances. We need to rally the rest of the galaxy to our side." The room fell silent as the leaders of Earth's military and government considered the next steps. Earth had always been isolated, cut off from the rest of the galaxy. The humans had never needed help before. But now, with the Empire breathing down their necks, they realized that if they were to survive, they would need allies, alien races who had suffered under the Empire's control. In the weeks following the Empire's arrival, Earth's diplomats reached out to several alien species that had been subjugated by the Empire for centuries. Some were hesitant, unwilling to risk angering the Empire, but others saw an opportunity. They had been waiting for a chance to break free from the Empire's grip. Together with Earth, they formed an alliance, ready to face the Empire's overwhelming force. Back in space, Admiral Cirque prepared his fleet. He had made his decision. Earth's refusal could no longer be ignored. He would destroy their ability to resist, once and for all. But even as he prepared for battle, he couldn't shake the feeling that this would be unlike any conquest he had ever undertaken. The Empire had never faced an enemy like Earth, but neither had Earth ever faced an enemy like the Galactic Empire. The day had come. Earth's leaders, after weeks of preparations, were now standing at the edge of a war they had never expected. The Galactic Empire's fleet loomed above, waiting for the signal to strike. But Earth was no longer the helpless planet it had once been. With the help of the ancient technology uncovered by Dr. Elena Carter and her team, Earth had developed powerful weapons and defenses, and with the alliances they had formed with other alien species oppressed by the Empire, Earth was no longer alone. General Marcus Blake stood at the front of the command center, watching the huge holographic display showing the positions of the enemy fleet. He felt a wave of both fear and hope. Fear, because the Empire's fleet was enormous, and their firepower unmatched. Hope, because for the first time, Earth had something to fight back with, something more than just their will to survive. They had the knowledge of a forgotten civilization, weapons that could challenge the Empire's dominance. The room was filled with tense faces. Military leaders, scientists, and diplomats stood side by side, knowing that the outcome of this battle would determine the future of Earth. The new allies from other planets stood in their military uniforms, ready to fight for their freedom and Earth's survival. It was a diverse and united force, one that had never been seen before in the galaxy. General Blake turned to his staff, his voice steady despite the immense pressure. "It's time. We can't wait any longer. We have the weapons, we have the alliances. Now, we fight for our future." As the command center came alive with activity, the first wave of Earth's defenses activated. Energy shields surrounded major cities, and new weapons that had once been nothing more than prototypes now powered up. Massive energy cannons, designed to harness the power of Earth's natural forces, began to hum with raw power. Earth was ready, but the first move was up to the Empire. Above Earth, Admiral Cirque stood on the bridge of his flagship, staring out at the planet below. He had spent weeks preparing for this moment, and now he was about to see if Earth's defiance had truly been worth it. His fleet was massive, with ships that could easily wipe out entire cities with a single blast. But something about this battle felt different. There was more at stake than just a simple conquest. Earth had done something that no other planet had ever dared. It had rejected the Empire. And now, the Empire would show them the true power of the galaxy. "Admiral, the human defenses are fully activated," reported one of his officers. "Energy shields are up, and their new weapons are active. They seem to be getting ready for battle." Admiral Cirque's gaze remained fixed on the planet. He had underestimated the humans before, but he would not make that mistake again. "Prepare the fleet," he ordered. "We'll show them what happens when they defy the Empire. Start with a warning shot. Let them know the price of resistance." The massive fleet of ships began to position themselves, and Earth's defenders held their breath. The first blast from the Empire came suddenly. An explosion of energy that rocked the atmosphere. The blast hit one of the energy shields protecting a major city. For a moment, the shield flickered and shuddered, but it held. Earth's technology had proven strong enough to withstand the initial attack. But the Empire was not finished. More blasts followed, each one aimed at different locations. The shields held for now, but the pressure was growing. General Blake's team scrambled to activate more defensive measures, trying to predict where the next strikes would land. Then Earth's allies took action. Ships from the alien species that had joined their cause entered the atmosphere, joining the fight alongside Earth's own defense forces. They brought with them advanced weapons of their own, energy cannons, missile launchers, and shields, designed to counter the Empire's overwhelming power. The sky above Earth erupted into chaos as the first wave of fighting began. Blasts of energy filled the air, and the sounds of battle echoed across the planet's surface. Ships from the Empire clashed with Earth's new fleet, and the ground shook as weapons fired from the surface to meet the invaders. Admiral Cirque watched the battle unfold on his command screen. Despite their initial success, the Empire's fleet was not as dominant as he had expected. Earth's shields were holding, and the new weapons they had developed were proving to be more effective than anticipated. "This is impossible," Cirque muttered to himself. "How can they be resisting us like this?" His officers were just as confused. The humans were using technology that was not supposed to exist, technology that was more advanced than anything they had encountered before, and they were fighting with a determination that had caught the Empire off guard. General Blake stood at the head of Earth's forces, watching as the battle unfolded across the sky. He knew that this was only the beginning. The Empire would not give up easily. But for the first time, humanity was not just defending itself. It was fighting back, with the power of an ancient civilization and the strength of a united galaxy behind them. "We're not going down without a fight," Blake said, his voice firm. "We will show them that Earth will never bow to the Empire." As the battle raged on, the humans, with their new allies, fought with everything they had. The battle for Earth's future had begun, and they were determined to win. The battle for Earth had reached a new level of intensity. The Empire's fleet continued its assault, firing blast after blast at Earth's shields and cities. But humanity's resistance, bolstered by the power of ancient technology and the support of their newfound allies, was holding strong. The energy shields were holding firm, and the weapons they had developed in secret were proving to be a formidable challenge to the Empire's forces. General Marcus Blake stood in the heart of Earth's military command center, watching the holographic display of the battle unfold. Ships from the Empire clashed with Earth's new fleet, and the sounds of explosions and energy blasts reverberated through the command center. His heart raced with the knowledge that Earth was fighting for its survival. "We're holding them off, General," said Colonel Vanessa Hart, the head of Earth's ground forces. She stood beside him, watching as the battle in the sky continued. "But we need to keep the pressure on them. If we let up, they'll regroup and hit us harder." Blake nodded, his mind racing. The initial assault had been fierce, but the Empire was not used to being resisted so strongly. Earth's defenses had exceeded their expectations, and the Empire's fleet was beginning to show signs of strain. Still, they couldn't afford to get complacent. The battle was far from over. "We've got a chance, but we need to turn the tide in our favor," Blake said, his voice steady. "Tell the fleet to increase their firepower. We need to break through their defenses." Colonel Hart nodded and turned to relay the orders. The military was in constant communication with Earth's space forces, directing the flow of battle. Earth's allies, the alien ships that had joined the cause, continued to fight with courage and strength. Though they were outnumbered, their combined efforts were beginning to tip the scales. Up in space, Admiral Cirque watched in frustration as his fleet struggled to make any significant progress. Earth's shields were more advanced than he had anticipated, and the new weapons they had developed were proving to be highly effective. His fleet's superior firepower had been unable to break through, and the humans were fighting with a level of coordination and determination he had not expected. "We've underestimated them," Cirque said, his voice cold with frustration. "This is not just a battle of firepower. The humans are using tactics we haven't seen before. They're not just defending, they're attacking." He looked around at his officers, who were beginning to show signs of concern. The battle was no longer going according to plan. Earth was pushing back in ways the Empire hadn't thought possible. His fleet had the numbers, but Earth's forces had something even more powerful: unity, innovation, and an unwavering will to protect their world. "We need to break through their defenses and take out their command center," Admiral Cirque said, gritting his teeth. "Send in reinforcements. If we can destroy their leadership, the rest of the planet will fall." On the surface of Earth, the pressure was mounting. The first wave of attacks had caused significant damage to some cities, but the energy shields had protected the most important areas. Earth's leaders were making quick decisions, and their military forces were executing them with precision. General Blake knew that Earth's survival depended on maintaining their momentum. "We can't let up," Blake said, speaking to his team. "We need to push them back further, keep them off balance. If we give them a chance to regroup, they'll take advantage of it." The battle raged on, with both sides giving their all. The skies were filled with blasts of energy as ships from both sides engaged in combat. Earth's new weapons, powered by the ancient technology that had been uncovered, continued to make a difference, allowing Earth's fleet to hold its ground. In the heart of the battle, Dr. Elena Carter and her team worked tirelessly to ensure that Earth's technology continued to function at full capacity. They had designed new weapons that harnessed the energy of the planet itself, and they were doing everything they could to keep them powered and operational. "The energy flow is stable," Dr. Carter reported to the command center. "The weapons are fully charged and ready to fire." "Good," Blake replied. "Let's make sure they stay that way. We can't afford any mistakes now." As the battle stretched on, it became clear that Earth's strategy was working. The Empire's fleet was beginning to falter, and the tide of the battle had shifted in Earth's favor. Earth's allies continued to press the attack, and the humans' ability to adapt and use their technology in creative ways was giving them an edge. Admiral Cirque knew that the battle was slipping out of his control. His fleet had been unable to land a decisive blow, and the resistance from Earth was stronger than anything he had anticipated. He ordered his fleet to pull back and regroup, but it was clear that their initial advantage had been lost. The Empire had never faced such a determined opponent before. As the battle raged on, General Blake and his team worked to keep the pressure on the Empire's forces. The combined efforts of Earth's military, its allies, and the power of the ancient technology were beginning to take their toll on the Empire's fleet. Earth was holding strong, and for the first time, it seemed as though victory was within their grasp. The fight for Earth was far from over, but the tide had turned. The humans had shown the galaxy that they would not be easily defeated. They had proven that, no matter how powerful the Empire was, they would never surrender. The Empire's fleet was no longer the unstoppable force it had once been. After days of fierce fighting, the battle for Earth was nearing its climax. The resistance from Earth's defenders, along with the support of their newfound allies, had proven stronger than anyone could have predicted. General Marcus Blake stood at the front of Earth's command center, watching the final phase of the battle unfold on the massive holographic display. The once dominant Galactic Empire was now on the defensive. Earth's energy shields were holding strong, and the new weapons they had developed, powered by ancient technology, were causing significant damage to the Empire's ships. Earth's forces, though outnumbered, had fought with a strength and unity that had surprised even their enemies. Now, the Empire was retreating. "We've got them on the run," said Colonel Vanessa Hart, her voice filled with a mix of relief and disbelief. "Their fleet is falling apart. We might actually win this." Blake nodded, though he knew that victory was not yet assured. "We can't let our guard down. They're retreating, but they still have the power to strike back. We need to finish this." In the skies above Earth, the Empire's ships were pulling back, their once unified formation now scattered and broken. The combined efforts of Earth's military, their alien allies, and the advanced technology they had discovered had turned the tide of the battle. But the Empire had one last card to play. Admiral Cirque, though frustrated by his fleet's losses, was not one to admit defeat easily. "Reinforcements are on the way," Cirque said coldly, standing on the bridge of his flagship. "We will not let Earth stand in our way. Prepare to launch a final strike." But even as he issued the command, Cirque knew that time was running out. Earth's resistance had shown the galaxy that the Empire was not invincible. The humans had proven that with determination, unity, and innovation, even the mightiest of forces could be challenged. The Empire's power, which had once seemed unshakable, was now in question. Back on Earth, General Blake received word that the Empire was preparing one last assault. He took a deep breath, knowing that this final attack could either break the Empire or lead to their own downfall. The humans had come so far, but now was the moment that would define the future of their world. "We have to stop them before they regroup," Blake said, turning to his officers. "Tell the fleet to focus all their firepower on their command ship. If we take out their leader, the rest of their forces will fall." Colonel Hart quickly relayed the orders, and Earth's forces began to reposition themselves. Ships from their alien allies provided cover, while Earth's fleet moved into position to strike at the heart of the Empire's remaining strength. The final battle began. Earth's forces, now fully united, launched everything they had left at the Empire's flagship. Energy blasts filled the sky, lighting up the atmosphere as Earth's new weapons combined with the strength of their allies. The Empire's ships fought back, but the damage was already done. Earth's technology and unity had proven to be the Empire's undoing. Admiral Cirque stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching as his fleet was torn apart. His eyes narrowed in frustration as his forces crumbled before him. He had underestimated Earth, and now it was too late to turn the tide. "Send a message to the Emperor," Cirque ordered, his voice tight with anger. "Tell him, Earth has proven too powerful to be conquered. We must pull back." But as the message was being sent, the flagship was hit with a direct blast from one of Earth's energy weapons. The impact rocked the ship, and alarms blared across the deck. The flagship's shields flickered, then collapsed under the intense firepower. The Empire's last hope was crumbling. In Earth's command center, the room erupted in cheers. The Empire's flagship had been destroyed, and with it, the last remnants of their fleet's strength. General Blake stood still for a moment, absorbing the weight of what had just happened. Earth had won. They had defied the Galactic Empire and come out victorious. "It's over," Blake said softly, more to himself than anyone else. "We did it." But victory came at a price. Earth had been scared by the battle. Cities had been damaged, and lives had been lost. Yet the people of Earth had proven something far more important. They would not be enslaved. They would never bow to a force that sought to crush them. The battle had not only saved their planet, but had also sent a powerful message to the galaxy. In the aftermath of the battle, Earth's leaders met to discuss the future. They had won the war, but now they had to rebuild. Earth had always been isolated from the rest of the galaxy, but that isolation was now over. They had made powerful allies, and the galaxy would know Earth's name. No longer would they be seen as weak. No longer would they be overlooked. "We have a long road ahead of us," General Blake said, looking around the room at the leaders of Earth and their allies. "But together, we can rebuild and create a future where the galaxy's power is shared, not dominated. This is just the beginning." With the Empire's retreat, Earth was free. The humans had proven that no matter how vast the Empire's reach, no matter how powerful its technology, Earth would never surrender. They had fought for their freedom, and they had won. And as Earth's leaders looked to the stars, they knew that the battle for their world was over, but the fight for their future was just beginning.